If you're looking for the ultimate interactive brokers tutorial for beginners, this is the video for you. We're going to be opening up an account from scratch, covering the desktop and app-based platforms, researching investments, linking a bank, placing our first trade, and more. Now, I've personally been reviewing and testing different investing apps here on YouTube and over on my blog, investingsimple.com, for close to a decade now, and I'm excited to share that experience here with you guys today. All that I ask in return is that you drop a like on this video and subscribe for the YouTube algorithm. Now, we're going to get started here with a quick summary of interactive brokers and what they are, but if you want to skip right ahead to the tutorial, you can use the table of contents down below. Interactive brokers, or IBKR for short, is one of the largest and most advanced online stock brokerage platforms in the world. They've been around for almost 50 years now, providing investors with access to stocks, ETFs, options, futures, forex, bonds, and more, all from one single account. Today, Interactive Brokers has more than 4.5 million customers worldwide, providing access to more than 170 market centers across dozens of different countries. In addition, they support trading in 29 different global currencies. So right off the bat, this global footprint is one of the biggest benefits associated with IBKR. If you're watching from the US, you can use Interactive Brokers to invest in the US markets and a massive list of global markets. And if you aren't from the US, there's a good chance your country is supported, and this platform will give you access to worldwide investment opportunities. In fact, a lot of people will use Interactive Brokers to invest in US-listed stocks and ETFs when residing outside of the United States. And with having so much to offer here, the platform can feel a little bit overwhelming for complete beginners, but that's exactly why I put this tutorial together here. I promise you that by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to use your Interactive Brokers account as a power user, so be sure to stick around. But first, I want to quickly talk about the different platforms available within the IBKR family, because Interactive Brokers offers 6 different trading platforms, as well as 2 additional specialty platforms. For the purpose of this tutorial, we're just going to be focusing on 2 of these: the simplest desktop-based experience and the simplest app-based trading experience. But I did want to tell you about the rest of them just so you are familiar. Because once you create an account, you can log into all of these different platforms and take advantage of them using the same exact logins. For starters, Client Portal is the browser-based web experience where you essentially log in via their website. This is one of the platforms I'll be showing you, and it's where you're going to create your Interactive Brokers account. You can place trades, research investments, stay up to date on market news here, and more. IBKR Desktop, on the other hand, is a downloadable application for your computer, which comes with the most popular tools from their flagship trading workstation. This is designed for beginner to intermediate active traders who want a bit more than you'll find through their Client Portal, aka their website. Now, TWS, or Trader Workstation, is their intermediate to advanced downloadable trading platform that they are most well known for. This is designed for seasoned active traders who are looking for access to multiple investment products, as well as robust charting and data. Now, IBKR APIs, their next platform, allows you to build customizable trading applications through their programming interfaces that directly integrate with the other platforms. So again, this is going to be for more advanced to even institutional users at that point. Now, IBKR Forecast Trader is a specialty web-based platform where you can access event contracts, such as yes or no outcomes on US economic data, and more. This is more or less Interactive Brokers' prediction market if you're into that sort of thing. Now, on the mobile app side of things, for starters, you have IBKR Global Trader. This is their simplest app-based platform where you can invest as little as $1 through fractional shares. You can also open up a simulated trading account here to familiarize yourself with the app and practice before investing real money. Now, the next step up from that is going to be IBKR Mobile, and this is designed for more intermediate to advanced users who are still looking for a mobile-based experience. You're going to find more advanced order types here, powerful trading tools, and more data available compared to IBKR Global Trader. And the final platform is called Impact. This is a separate application designed for ESG investing specifically. So if you want to put your money where your heart is, to quote them directly, that's exactly what this is designed to do. For this beginner tutorial, we're going to focus on the Client Portal, as well as the IBKR Global Trader version of the app. But if you do want to see future content on other platforms here like IBKR Mobile, let me know down in the comments below. With that said, guys, let's jump over to their website now and open up a brand new interactive broker's account from scratch. The first step is going to be clicking the top link down below or visiting ryanoscribner.com/IBKR, and that's going to bring you right over here to their website. From here, we're going to go into the top right corner and click on this red Open Account button. Now, for starters, you're going to want to make sure you have individuals selected over here as opposed to institutions, and this gives us some basic information about what's going to be required here. They're going to ask for some personal and contact details, income and tax information, which is required to open up any financial account, trading experience and objectives to see what features would be a best fit for you, and then funding details as far as linking a bank account. So I'm going to go ahead and fill out this information over here on the right, and then we'll click on the blue Create Account button together. So once that's all filled out, we're going to click here on the Create Account button. Now on this screen here, it's going to ask you to choose an account type. There's going to be the option for individual, retirement, joint, or custodian. We're going to go with individual. That's going to be a standard taxable brokerage account. But if you want to check out these other account options later, you can go ahead and do that. And you can open multiple accounts with interactive brokers. They also offer different types of trust accounts, advisor accounts, business accounts, and even admin accounts. So tons of options available here. Next, you're going to scroll down here and choose your state of legal residence, and then we'll click on the Start Application button together. So after you click here on Start Application, it's going to bring us over to the next page, and we have to enter the legal name and then click on the blue Next button. From here, we're going to click on that button and enter the date of birth. And then once you click on Next, it's going to ask you for your residential address, and you're going to want to make sure this matches whatever is on your photo ID. Now, if your mailing address is different from your residential address, you can check this box, but if not, you're going to click here on the blue Next button. And then it's going to ask you for your primary citizenship information, so you can go ahead and enter those details and then click on the Next button when you're all set. The next screen here is going to ask you for your mobile phone number, so you can add those details and click on Next. And then it's going to kick back a code and have you verify that phone number. On the next screen here, it's going to ask you some basic tax information like your marital status, number of dependents, tax residency, and of course your social security number. This is going to be required to have tax reporting filled out related to your trading activity, and it's going to be a required step for opening up almost any financial account today. Once you have that completed, we can click here on the blue Next button, and then it's going to ask you for your employment details. The question below that asks if you or anyone in your family is employed or registered with a broker-dealer, investment advisor, futures, commission, merchant, hedge fund, exchange, or other financial services firm. Most of the time that's going to be a no, but if that is the case, you would select yes. And then you're going to click on the Next button once again, and now you're going to fill out your employer details at this point. After clicking on the blue Next button, it's going to ask some required regulatory information. This basically asks if you or anyone you know has control of a publicly traded company. That's going to be a no, but you can check that out yourself and make a decision there. We're going to click here on Next. It's now going to ask you for your source of wealth, so you can check any boxes that apply here, and then click on the blue Next button. And then you have to choose between your account type. Now, this is going to be very important because with a cash account, you're only going to be able to invest money that you actually put into the account. That's actually what I would recommend here, because with a margin account, you're able to borrow against the value of your portfolio and receive additional buying power as a loan to invest more money. So if you had $1 in your account, you might be able to borrow an additional $1 and invest $2, but you would then pay interest on that amount borrowed. It can be very risky, and you could always upgrade your account later. So we're going to go with a cash account and click on the blue Next button. It's now going to ask you about your income and net worth, so you can fill out that information, and then we'll click on the blue Next button. And on the next page, it's going to ask you about your investment objectives. You can select all that apply here, and then we'll click here on Next. And at this point, you're going to choose what trading permissions you want to have access to. We're going to leave it as is by default because later on I'm going to show you how to change these settings. But if you have specific products that you want to add, you can click here on Show More Products and add additional trading products and things like that. But we're just going to leave it as is and click on the blue Next button. At this point, it's going to ask you about your trading experience for both stocks and options. So go ahead and fill this out. And then you're going to click on the blue next button once again. And at this point, you can choose your options trading level. Now, there's going to be more advanced types of options that you can trade as you go deeper through these levels. And you can click here to get an idea of what that's going to give you access to. We're just going to leave it as level 1 options trading and click on the blue next button. But if you plan on doing more advanced types of options trading, you can enable that here under the options level. At this point, you can choose between the service plan of IBKR Pro or IBKR Lite. We're just going to go with IBKR Lite because we're looking for the $0 commissions on US-based stocks and ETFs, and overall the attractive pricing on margin loans. We're not going to be using that anyway. And then competitive interest paid on idle cash, that's another perk here as well. So we're going to click here on the blue next button, and now it's going to ask you whether or not you want to earn money by lending out stocks that you own. We're just going to leave that as a no for the time being, but you can make a decision there yourself. And now we're going to have to fill out some security questions for account recovery. Once we have those security questions filled out, we're going to click on the blue next button once again. On the next screen, it says, how did you hear about us? So I'm just going to say Ryan Scribner, YouTube, and you can put the same thing in if you wish, and then we'll click here on next. And then it's going to have us verify the email address. At this point, it's going to have you review your application just to make sure that you've inputted everything correctly. You're going to see your account ID listed here as well. And then you can just scroll through all of this and make sure everything looks good. At the very bottom, if it does, we'll click here on the blue next button. And then there's going to be an IRS certification here where you're basically just saying, yes, this is my social. Am I subject to backup withholdings? Am I a US person? So go ahead and answer those the way you would like to. And then you're going to type in your name here at the bottom as your digital signature. And if that looks good, we'll click on the blue next button once again. At that point, there's going to be some agreements and disclosures. You can click on each one of these and read them, and then click on the box here that says you agree, and then we're going to scroll down and sign once again. And then you're just going to click here on the blue submit button at the very bottom, and then you're going to click on submit once again here. And just like that, we have submitted the application, and it says they're going to process the application and get back to us shortly. So we're going to want to keep an eye on our email now to see any updates surrounding this particular application. Alrighty guys, so within about 30 minutes of submitting the application, the account application was approved. So we now have a fully opened Interactive Brokers account, and we are now here on the main dashboard here of their website. Now I'm going to be showing you a full tour of everything here shortly, but the very next thing I want to show you is going to be funding this account. So we're going to have to link a bank account and then initiate a transfer. At the very top here, we can see we have this option here that says fund your account where you can deposit funds. You can also transfer positions over if you want to transfer stocks from another brokerage account, but we're not going to cover that in this video. Instead, we're going to click here on the deposit funds button and start following these steps here. So on this screen, you can either deposit funds, withdraw funds, or transfer between Interactive Brokers accounts. We're going to select the deposit funds button, and then it gives us a couple options here for depositing funds. We can either link a new bank account, do a direct ACH transfer from your bank account, or a bank wire transfer. You can also fund your account with stable coins. There's also options for mailing a check and other options here too towards the bottom that are less common. But we're going to go with this top one here, which is going to be linking a new bank account. So we're going to click on this link a bank account button here. At this point, you have two options for linking your bank. You can either enter your banking information like your account and routing number manually, and this might take a little bit of time, or you have the option here for linking it via a bank login and using Plaid. So we're going to go with the bank login option here and click here on the right that says login at your bank, and then it's going to redirect us to Plaid. So we're going to click here on the connect account button, and then we're going to go ahead and click here on continue. From here, you're going to type in your bank if you don't see it listed, and then select it. And then you're going to click on this continue to login button here at the bottom, where it's then going to prompt you to enter your essentially login and password for that financial institution. At this point, it's going to show you a list of your different financial accounts if you have multiple with this bank, or if you just have one, it's going to auto select that bank account. And then we're going to click here on the black continue button at the bottom. It now confirms it's connecting this account to Interactive Brokers, and then we got the success notification. So we have now successfully connected our bank account account to Interactive Brokers using Plaid. So we're now going to click here on the continue button at the bottom. And then at this point, it says your banking account information needs to be confirmed. So what you're going to do is scroll down and type a signature and confirm your Interactive Brokers login one additional time. Once you've inputted that information, you can click here on the blue continue button, and then it is going to send one additional security code here as well. And then on this screen, it says success, your bank account has been confirmed. So we have successfully linked a bank account. And if you want to, you can link multiple different accounts to Interactive Brokers, but for this tutorial, we're just going to stick with the one account. Now we are going to do a transfer of funds now, but I want to show you how to do this from the main screen. That way you're aware of how to do it. So we're just going to click here on the portfolio button, and that's going to bring us back to the main section here where we were at from the beginning. And now we're going to move over to this tab here that says transfer and pay, and go ahead and click on that. And then it gives you the drop down here where you can transfer funds, positions, do a direct deposit, debit, or view saved information. You can also view transaction status and history, but we're going to click here on the transfer funds button. And then on this screen, we're going to select this button here that says deposit funds. And now we can see our linked bank account here. So we're going to go ahead and select that from the list. And then we're going to specify the amount, confirm details, and then it says the funds will arrive in 1 to 4 business days. So for this tutorial, we're just going to do a $50 deposit and type that in here where it says US dollars. And then it says transfer method, ACH. That's exactly what we're looking for. And the good news is the funds are going to be available today for investing. So even though the money doesn't transfer immediately, it appears that they give you the ability to invest that money right away. So that is a plus, but just make sure you maintain those funds in your bank account. That way you don't face a reversal, any account restrictions, or anything like that. And on this screen here, we just have to confirm the deposit. So if everything looks good, we can click here on the blue confirm deposit button. And it says your ACH deposit has been submitted. And as a courtesy, your deposit will be instantly credited to your account. Please allow a few minutes for the amount to appear in your account. So we will in fact be able to use that money right away. So we'll go ahead now and click back here on the portfolio screen to go back to where we were at the beginning. And in a short amount of time here, we should see that $50 balance reflected over here on the left, where we have information about the cash in the account and other details. Now, while we wait for that to come over, I want to talk about how to research investments using Interactive Brokers. And honestly, their platform has some of the best research tools available, and it's all going to be part of their free account. There's tons of services out there that you have to pay for that don't even offer as much information as them. So it's quite impressive how much they have available here just with their free account. But what we're going to do is click into the search bar here where you can type in the symbol. And we're going to take a look at NVIDIA just because it's one of the most popular stocks. So if we go ahead and type that in, we can now see a list of stocks here below that. And we're looking for NVIDIA Corp listed here on the NASDAQ. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And then we can click here on stock to view the stock page. And this is going to bring us to the main stock profile page for NVIDIA. Now, for starters, where you see this American flag icon, you can click on this to get more information. So we can see here that this is on the NASDAQ exchange. It's a US listed stock. The real-time price data is non-consolidated. Not entirely sure what that means, but to some people that's relevant information. There is a margin requirement if you're looking to invest on margin, and it's available for US overnight trading as well if you're looking to trade this after hours. But we're going to click on the X here and just take a look at some other information here on this stock chart. So for starters, by default, we can see a candlestick chart showing the price action here at the top. And it looks like we're viewing a 6-month view right now. And then the bars at the bottom representing the volume. But if you're just looking for a simpler chart, you can click here on this candlestick icon and just change it over to a basic line chart. And now we have a line chart here showing NVIDIA's performance. If we click on this again, you can see all of these other types of charts available. Solid candles, hollow candles, area charts, baseline columns, all kinds of stuff here, more than you're going to find in most investing platforms. But for now, we're going to go back to a candlestick chart here like we were at the very beginning. And now let's just go ahead and change the time horizon. So right now it's on a 6-month view, but if we want to change it over to 3 months, we can select that here. We can go ahead and look at a year, for example. So let's leave it on the 1-year chart and then go ahead and make some additional changes. If we click here on the squiggly F, it's going to bring up a list of all of the available technical indicators, and there is a massive list of technical indicators available. So depending on what you're looking for, you're likely going to find it here. We're just going to go with a moving average, for example. So by selecting that, it added this blue line here, which is a moving average. I think it's looking like a 9-day moving average. And if we click on the 3 dots here, I think we can change the number of days that this is representing here. Under settings, yeah, so under length it's currently 9, but if we make it like a 20 and click here on OK, now we're looking at a 20-day moving average at this point. So that's how you can add technical indicators and go ahead and customize your chart. We can also come back over here and turn these off and remove them if we want to. But that's the basics here of the charting. It's very advanced. You can also click here to full screen the chart and view everything on a much bigger view here, depending on what you're looking to do. So very advanced charting is available, but you can also revert to a basic line chart if you're looking for something on the simpler side as well. If we scroll down here, we can see information about NVIDIA. It's going to have a profile of the company as well as key statistics here at the bottom regarding price to earnings ratio, market cap, etc. But this is just the beginning of the data that they have available. If we go back to the top here, we can see over on the right-hand side a couple of options. Directly to the right of that is going to be the options chain. So if you want to trade options surrounding NVIDIA, you would come over here. And as I'm sure you can gather by looking at this, this is a very advanced options trading platform. So if you're new to options, this might be rather intimidating. But if you're a more advanced or intermediate options trader, you're probably happy with what you see here in terms of all of these different tools available. We're not going to cover too much about options trading here. That's going to be the extent of it. So the next thing we're going to do is hop over here to the fundamentals. So over here in this fundamentals section, this is where you're going to be able to do the most research surrounding investments. And this is where they have most of the information available that's going to be useful for investors. So we can see here on the left a more detailed description, any information here about dividends. There's an ESG rating. We can also get Morningstar research here and see what the rating is as far as a fair value estimate. And you can click on these arrows here to get additional information about any of these items as well. We can see key ratios listed here compared to industry averages, different investment themes, and if you keep scrolling here, you'll just see more and more information available. We can see overall analyst ratings in terms of the consensus, as well as far as if it's a buy, sell, etc., and a price target based on all of that. And then over here on the right here, we can see company profile, and each of these individual sections you can break out into further detail. If we click here on financials, we can get very detailed financial information here related to their various statements, like the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. So if you're looking to conduct fundamental analysis, this is one of the best platforms out there to do that. The analyst ratings tab is going to give us more details about what analysts think about the stock, and we can see how many individual analysts are assigning ratings. We can also see ownership here, which is very interesting. It's going to show us who are the top owners of the company as far as institutional owners. And you can also take a look at insiders in the company and see what they are doing as far as buying or selling. So here under the trade log, we can see it's listing all trades right now. But if we click here on insiders, we can see what insiders are doing. So they're actually buying shares. So that can often be a good indicator of whether or not you might want to buy or sell, is just seeing what the corporate insiders are doing as far as buying versus selling the stock goes. Social sentiment is also a very interesting tab here. This is taking a look at social media posts. So right now, this is showing the tweet sentiment versus tweet volume. So if you care about what people are saying about the stock on social media, there's actually ways to keep track of that here in that dashboard. And we can see what the social sentiment trend has been over different periods of time. So we're not going to go into too much more information here, but there is just so much available here to you inside of this Fundamentals Explorer. So if you are looking to do research on investments, this is honestly one of the best tools I have found out there for doing this type of investment research. But for now, we're going to click here back on the portfolio button. And if we scroll down, we can see that the $50 deposit has now come over to the account. So under the cash holdings here, we can see currency, US dollar as our base currency, and a $50 amount here. Now, the first thing I want to show you here is how to convert this currency. So if you're looking to convert it to one of the other roughly 29 supported currencies, you would click here on the three dots and then click on the convert button. And on this screen here, you can basically choose what currency you want to convert over to. So this is going to be the list here of all of the supported currencies. So if you're looking to convert this over to a euro, for example, you would type in the amount here you're looking to convert, like 50, for example. It's going to show you the conversion amount here at the bottom. So if you're looking to swap over your US dollars into a different currency or any other direction like that, that's how you would do a currency conversion. But for now, we're just going to reset this and click on the X and not follow through with that. And you might encounter some fees as well if you're using the currency conversion service. The next thing I want to show you here is how to actually place a trade, and what we're going to do is invest in the S&P 500. Now, to do that, we're going to use the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. There's a ton of different options out there, but that is my preferred method, and that's under the symbol VOO. So what we're going to do is click here on this trade button to the right of portfolio, and then we're going to open up the order ticket, and then we can type in the symbol on this screen here. So in this case, it would be VOO. And then it says to press enter, and then it brings up here the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, and then we're going to select that right here as far as the stock goes, and now it's going to bring us to a similar stock profile page like we were looking at before. From here, we're just going to scroll down and then get past the chart here, and this is where we can choose to buy or sell, and by default it is set to shares. So even if we wanted to buy just one share, we would need $603.19, which a lot of people don't have. But the good thing is you can select this drop down and change it over to investing in US dollars and then buy in dollar values and essentially buy a fractional share. So that's super helpful because otherwise you'd have to have quite a bit of money here to buy one share of this ETF. And in this case, we're going to invest $25 into this, which is going to be 0.0414 shares. And by default, we can see it's set to a limit order. This is where you can specify the exact price or better that you're looking for the order to fill at. So right now, the limit order is set with a limit price of $603.19. So it would only fill this order if it was that price or better. But if you want your order to fill immediately, we're going to change this over to a market order. And then basically, it's going to give you the best available price at that particular moment. So we're going to leave everything else the way it is, and we're going to buy $25 worth of VOO to invest in the S&P 500. I always recommend previewing the order first. So if we click here on preview, it's going to show us that we are, again, doing a market order here. The time in force is day, and there is a commission paid here of 25 cents, so that is something just to be aware of, that there might be trading commissions with Interactive Brokers, but you can determine whether or not that's worth it to you for the tons of different tools available. We're going to go ahead and select Submit Buy Order now, and then it says Market Order Confirmation, and then we can click here on Accept. On this screen here, it says the order has been filled. So we bought 0.0414 shares of VOO, and the information is listed here about the fill price and things like that. We're now going to click back on the portfolio tab, and now we can see our investment listed here under the Your Holdings section. So now that we've made an investment, we officially have a portfolio here with Interactive Brokers that's going to be tracking this. We can see the value. It's going to update here on the left, our unrealized profit and loss, our extra buying power, and everything like that. So now, because we invested roughly half of our money, we have our investment listed here at the top, and then about $25, a little bit less here, in cash holdings listed underneath. So now that we made an investment here within the Interactive Brokers account, we can click on these different options here, and it's going to now populate this with information. Dashboard is going to show us basically the total value of the portfolio, and then once you have had this in here for a while, you'll be able to check over different spans of time and see how your portfolio value has changed. You can also compare the performance to major benchmarks like the NASDAQ or the S&P 500 here if you want to see how closely it is tracking that underlying index. We looked at to the positions tab already. Performance is going to show you something very similar here, but it's going to be showing you the percentage performance here of your portfolio, be it up or down. You can also see your asset allocation here in terms of stocks versus cash, things like that. Under the balances tab, we can see information that's more so going to be useful if you're using margin through Interactive Brokers, but it shows us our balances, the cash, settled cash, investments versus cash and things like that. Now the portfolio news option here is going to be interesting because it's going to populate a news feed related to whatever you have invested into using Interactive Brokers. So in this case, it's going to be anything related to the S&P 500, and you can find articles listed below that that are going to be relevant to your investment portfolio. Now, I already showed you how to take a look at a particular stock here on Interactive Brokers and look at the Fundamentals Explorer, which is going to be a ton of research tools. But if you're looking for additional research tools, at the top here, you can click on Research, and this is where you have tons of available options. You can build watch lists. There's market screeners, mutual fund screeners, bond screeners, investment themes, all sorts of different tools like that. I'm just going to click on one option here, the market screener, and we'll go with the 2.0 to see what the upgraded version looks like. But if you're essentially looking for a stock screener here to look for different investment opportunities, you can use this here. It also works across all of the different supported markets here. So you can say, for example, if you're looking at US stocks, you can break it down by different sectors. We're just going to click on next and go through this. And there's all sorts of different functionalities here for filters and things you might utilize to find different investment opportunities. So for example, if you're looking for financials only, you can click here on financials, and it's going to give you a list of all of the companies in that particular sector or segment of the economy. You can look at Asia stocks, you can look at European stocks, and all sorts of different things here. So the screener tools here are really second to none here with Interactive Brokers, and you're just going to find a ton of different helpful research tools available here if you're looking to, research potential investments, ETFs, bonds, mutual funds, and things like that. And then they also have this education tab over here. If you're looking to just learn more about the platform, this is going to include videos, a Traders Academy, Traders Glossary, and things like that. So I would highly recommend checking out the short video section here at the very least if you're looking to just learn about different functionalities within this. And they even have finance courses built right in that are going to teach you how to use the platform and potentially different investment strategies. So the amount of tools here available are just unbelievable here. Introduction to stocks, introduction to indexes. So you can click on each one of these and go through different lessons that are going to teach you all about the stock market, investing, business cycles, things like that. So I would definitely recommend taking advantage of all of these educational tools, especially if you are new to the world of investing. There's a few other quick things I want to show you while we're in the desktop view, and one of those is going to be how to locate your tax forms. So at the end of the year, when you're looking to collect this information, what you would do is log into your Interactive Brokers portfolio here, click on Performance and Reports, and then under this menu here, you have Tax Documents. Now, since I just opened this account, I'm not going to have anything listed here, but this is where you would find a list of your tax documents that you would then use for tax reporting and filing purposes. In addition, under the settings, there's a few things you might want to be aware of. So we're going to click on the person icon in the top right and then select the settings menu. And the first thing I want to show you is where you can make a decision about dividend reinvestment. So if we scroll down here under the trading section, we can see this option here for dividend election. Right now, it's set to the default of receiving cash. But if you wanted to reinvest your dividends, you can click here on dividend election and select reinvest. So at that point, the dividends that are earned would be reinvested, and you can either do this at an account level and have it apply to all of your positions, or you can apply this position by position. So let's say, for example, you wanted to reinvest your S&P 500 dividend, but perhaps receive cash for other dividends. You could make a manual selection down here and decide position by position there. So we now have this set to reinvest dividends, and we're going to click here on continue at this point. And then there's just going to be a disclosure here you have to accept related to dividend reinvestment. So just like that, we enabled dividend reinvestment, and now we're going to click back into the settings once again and navigate over here because there's one other thing I want to show you. So we're going to scroll down once again here and take a look at trading permissions and select this. So earlier on when we were opening up the account, we saw there was the opportunity to basically add additional investments and things like that. So right now these are on by default here, the stocks, warrants, and options, but you can enable bonds, futures, and futures options, metals, and different things like that if you're looking to explore different assets. So if there's something that you're looking for that you're not finding, you might just need to enable it here under these settings. And then if you're looking to trade stocks in additional markets and you're not seeing that available, you would come over here under stocks and click on the edit button. And then on this screen here, you select the locations where you wish to trade stocks. So you could select all Asia Pacific, all Europe, all South America, etc. Or you can enable all of these markets one by one. But this is going to show you a list here of all of these supported markets here where you can potentially trade stocks through interactive brokers. So the list is gigantic. So if you are looking for international stock exposure, this is probably one of the best places that you're going to find that. And then the last thing I want to show you before we switch over to mobile is how to use the iBot. And that's going to be this in the bottom right here. If you select that, this is going to be something that can help you out with different questions that you have. So you can select options here as far as if you want a demo of how to use the iBot, maybe you want to close your positions, but you can also just type in a question here if you have a question about interactive brokers. So we already did this, but if you wanted to enable dividend reinvestment, we can just type that in here and see what this says. And then click here on enter. And it now says, did you mean, okay, FAQ, how do I manage my stock dividend reinvestment program election? So it would then bring you over to an FAQ article here. Or actually, if you click on this, it's just going to give you instructions here where you can click on read more, and it's going to tell you exactly how to do that. So if there's something you're trying to do and you're getting a little bit lost, you can use the iBot and get assistance here right within the web portal. All right, guys, so now we have switched gears and we're taking a look at the Global Trader app. And again, just a quick reminder, this is going to be the simplest app of the Interactive Broker family of apps. And you might want to check out Interactive Brokers Mobile if you're looking for a bit more data and a more robust experience. But let's take a look at the app here. On the home page, you're going to have a chart that's going to show you the performance of your portfolio over time. And obviously, since we just made this investment, we're not going to see too much here. Below that is going to be a news feed related to your portfolio and any investments that you have made. Then you have buttons here to access transactions, recurring investments. We're going to take a look at that shortly. Your account, you have the option to withdraw and deposit, access support, convert currencies, which is all going to be helpful for certain users. And then if we scroll down below that, we can see the top holdings. Since we only have one, that's all that's listed here. We can see the major indices listed here below that. You can create a watch list, access cryptocurrencies, and potentially even enable cryptocurrency trading if you wanted to invest in cryptocurrencies here. Below that's going to be a larger news feed related to the overall market, and you can see key names are going to be listed here below that for whatever's mentioned in the article. So if you're looking to stay up to date on major market news, that's what the overview section is for. And then you can select portfolio for news related to stocks that you own, or watch list for any stocks on your watch list and news surrounding those. If we click over to the portfolio tab, it's going to show us a view of the portfolio. So we can see my investment listed at the top and the cash balance listed below that. So that's a great way to keep track of your portfolio on the go, but you're not going to want to be looking at this all the time because for the most part, investing is a long-term activity and not something that you're going to be checking this, frequently and worrying about every little price move up or down. The news section is going to do the same thing as before, show you news related to things that you own in your portfolio. The orders tab is going to show previous orders or orders that are open, I believe. And then the trades tab shows you your historical trades. So there we can see the trade that we placed on the desktop here, buying VOO and paying $603.26 a share. It shows how much we bought, the trading commission, and the time that we bought. And then we also have the ability here to create a watch list if you're interested. The next tab over here is called forecasts. And this is where you you can explore different categories here. So for example, if we click here on economic indicators, this is going to actually be the prediction market feature. So I thought this was actually a separate app. It's possible they have both options here, but you can trade prediction markets right here within this version of the app if you're interested. So that's what that section of the app is here under forecasts. And then if you click here on the Explore tab, this is where you can research different investments here, take a look at top gainers, most active, the biggest losers in the market for that day. You can also access a stock screener, take a look at world markets here and their overall performance, look at performance by sector, cryptocurrency performance, and then additional learning resources here available too at the bottom. And then just like before with the desktop version, you can type in a symbol here if you wanted to take a look at a particular stock. So if we type in NVIDIA, we can see that listed here at the top and select that here. And then you're going to get access to a price chart. You can change the different time horizons here, calendar events, market data, company profile, and then you can also access a lot of the data that we saw earlier on, but here just in an app format, not nearly as much as the Fundamental Explorer, but you do get some of it here. And then you can buy, sell, and trade options for this right here within the app. But what we're going to do now is click on the back button, and I want to quickly show you their recurring investments feature. So if we click here on the portfolio button and then the recurring tab here on the right, this is where you would list your recurring investments. Now we don't have any created yet, but let's go ahead and create one now just so you are aware. We're going to go back to the home tab, and then if we scroll down here, we see this button where it says recurring with this little red dot on it. If we click on that, this is where you would be able to edit your recurring investments. Now, transparently, I wasn't aware of this, but it looks like you have to actually enable this from the desktop or computer view. So you're not able to create a recurring investment through the app. My mistake there, but you can monitor those here. But something that a lot of people might be interested in is looking to create a recurring investment, especially for something like investing in the S&P 500. So if you wanted to put, $10 a week or $100 a month automatically into something like that, you can set that up very easily here within the Interactive Brokers app. Now, if you're looking to sell a stock, what you would do here is either click on the trade button and then fill out the details here by searching for the symbol, or what you can do is navigate to your portfolio and take a look at any of your positions. And then if we click on one of these positions, like the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, you can see your position listed below, and then you could click here on the sell button, and then you have the option to either sell everything with the sell all button, or you can create a specific sell order. If we click here on sell order, we can see details here surrounding the order type, and it's set to limit by default. But if you want it to go through right away, I would recommend a market order. And then you can either sell in shares or you can sell in dollar values. So if you just wanted to sell off, let's say, for example, $5 worth, you would input that right here, and you could sell $5 worth of your position, and you would swipe over here and slide to sell. We are going to sell off the investment that I made just to show you how it works. And I wouldn't recommend buying and selling that quickly by any means, but I did want to show you how this works. We're going to click here on the sell button, and then we're going to click the sell all button, and it's going to bring up a similar order screen. I'm just going to change it over to a market order to make sure that it goes through. And then you would slide here to sell, but we're just going to click on the preview button to make sure everything looks good. You can validate the details on this screen, take a look at your trading commission, and then click on the submit sell order button here at the bottom. At this point, you can just check this box and click on accept and continue. I guess you do have to scroll to the very bottom first. And just like that, we have filled the order here to sell off our investment that we made earlier. So just like that, we've now done both sides of the transaction. If I click here on done and now navigate back to the home page that I was on, it now lists our US dollar balance as $49.53, and we don't have anything else in our portfolio. If we click on trades, we can see both the buy and sell order listed there. And obviously we don't have any positions in this portfolio anymore, so it's just going to be cash. And then let's say you're looking to transfer that money back to your bank. It's not going to let me do this just yet, but if we click here on the home button and then scroll down, we can see the option here to withdraw. We would select on that. And I guess, again, you'd have to do that from the web-based version. So you're not going to have full app functionality here for everything you're looking to do, but it can be helpful here to keep track of certain aspects of your portfolio, place trades, and things like that. But if you are looking to withdraw, you would just go back to the transfer section of the web portal that I showed you, and instead of depositing, you would withdraw money and then just input the amount that you want to send back to your bank account. But there you have it, guys. That's a full tutorial on how to use interactive brokers for beginners. I hope this helped you get started, and if you have any questions, leave me a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer each one. And if you want to see a future video on any of the other interactive brokers platforms like IBKR Mobile, for example, leave me a comment as well, and if I get enough comments requesting that, I'll be sure to do a video on that particular platform. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and if you're looking to learn more about different investing platforms, you can click here to watch my Moomoo tutorial, which is one of my favorite, more modern, advanced trading apps out there. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll see you next time.